Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're jumping into what might be the Bible's most intimidating book. You know the one, it's full of rules that feel ancient and punishments that sound harsh. Yep, we are talking about Leviticus.
So, let's just get right to it, with a pretty wild question. What if this book, the one that most people find kinda scary, the one filled with all those rules about blood and sacrifice, what if it's not about fear at all? What if it's actually a love story?
I mean, let's be real. For most of us, Leviticus feels like this dense, confusing maze of strange laws and really severe consequences. It's the book we all kinda skip over. But what if we've been reading the map completely upside down?
The source material for this whole explainer gives us this incredible new way to look at it. It's called theological engineering, and the idea is simple. Stop seeing Leviticus as just a long, random list of do's and don'ts. Instead, see it as a perfectly designed, totally interconnected system, where every single piece is working together toward one unified goal.
So what difference does that make? Oh, only everything. It completely flips the script. Leviticus goes from being a manual on how to appease some angry, far-off God to a blueprint for a non-stop party, a fiesta, with a loving father who actually wants to be close to his people.
As our source puts it, the whole point is not penal, but relational and joyous. Think about that. It's a system designed from the ground up to create and sustain this deep, joyful connection, this shalom, between God and his people. It's all about relationship, not just about rule following.
Okay, so how does this system actually work? Well, it's not a maze at all. In fact, it's a super clear, really logical pathway, a progression that our source calls the stairway of worship.
So where does this stairway to God begin? Well, this might surprise you. It doesn't start with God. It starts with your neighbor. Step 1 is the restitution offering, the ʻA้šām, and this is a non-negotiable principle of the whole system. You can't be right with God if you're not right with your community. You have to fix things with people first. The horizontal relationship is the foundation for the vertical one.
All right, so once you've made things right with people, what's next? The purification offering, or ḥaṭṭāʻt. And the source has this amazing analogy. Think of sin like smoke that fills up a room. This offering isn't about scrubbing you clean, it's about opening the windows and clearing the air. It purifies the space where you meet with God so that your relationship can actually breathe again. Now, once the relationship is fixed and the air is clear, what happens? A party. Seriously. Step 3 is the Zébaḥ Šelamim, the peace offering. And get this, it's the only offering that uses the Hebrew word zébaḥ, which specifically means a sacrifice you have for a banquet. This is not some solemn duty. This is a huge, joyful, celebratory meal that you share with God, with your family, and with your friends.
And that brings us to the very top of the stairway, the ʻOláh, the ascending offering. I mean, think about it. After you've restored your relationships, cleansed the space, and celebrated in this incredible communion, what's the only logical response? Just total, overflowing gratitude. It's this joyous act of giving yourself completely in worship, which goes up to God like a fragrant aroma. It's the beautiful climax of the entire process.
So this system seems like it's perfectly designed to handle all the unintentional slip-ups of daily life. But that brings up a really big question, doesn't it? What happens when somebody breaks the rules on purpose, when they know exactly what they're doing and they do it anyway?
The Hebrew Bible actually has a name for this. It's sinning with a high hand, b'yad ramah. This isn't an accident. This is conscious, deliberate rebellion. It's a betrayal of the whole covenant relationship. And for this kind of sin, the system had a truly shocking answer.
There was nothing. No sacrifice. The entire system, this beautiful blueprint for joy and relationship, just stopped. It had no offering, no ritual, absolutely no mechanism to deal with intentional, high-handed rebellion.
But here's the brilliant twist. This wasn't a flaw in the system, it was a feature. This massive hole was put there on purpose to create this deep, prophetic tension. It was designed to scream that while the system could clean up the unintentional stains of life, it was completely powerless against an intentional fire. It showed that the real problem wasn't just our actions, it was something deeper, in the human heart itself, and it pointed to our desperate need for a new covenant.
You could say this intentional gap in the system was like a shadow. And what's the whole point of a shadow? It's to make you turn around and look for the real thing that's casting it. The entire Levitical code was engineered to make us search for something or someone so much greater.
And right here is where we see what that shadow was pointing to all along. This whole system finds its ultimate purpose and fulfillment in Jesus. Let's just walk through that stairway again. The āšām, the restitution offering, that points to Jesus who restores our broken relationship with God. The ḥaṭṭāʻt, the purification offering, that's about his work cleansing our very consciences. The Zébaḥ Šelamim, the peace banquet, it points to Jesus who doesn't just make peace, he is our peace. And finally, that ʻOláh, the ultimate offering of worship, it's perfectly fulfilled in his life of complete self-giving.
Okay, so this is all really fascinating ancient theology, right? But what does it actually mean for us? For you and me, living our lives right here, right now. How does this 3,000-year-old blueprint for joy matter today?
Well, here's the amazing thing. The stairway of worship didn't just vanish. It's just not a ritual in a stone building anymore. Instead, it has become this collective, living reality that's meant to be embodied by the church. It's a community of people living out this pattern of reconciliation, purity, peace, and worship together. It becomes what the source calls a festive testimony to the whole world.
I just love how this source material describes this. It says the church is meant to be a community dynamic that embodies the grace of God, a living celebration driven by the Holy Spirit. You see that? It's not a static institution. It's a dynamic, celebratory movement of people who are living out this blueprint for joy.
And this brings us right back to that beautiful idea of a party. The church is meant to be a banquet of peace. It's supposed to be a place where a broken and divided world can look in and see what real reconciliation and real joy actually look like in action. It's a place where that peace with people and peace with God is on full display.
And this is where this ancient blueprint gets really personal. If the church is really meant to be this incredible festive banquet of grace, this celebration of peace, then the final question isn't about some old system. The final question is for us. Who are you inviting to the table?